Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 30th of March and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis. Guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. Now, before moving on, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper in order to understand that which articles will be important for our examination. Now, the explainer PDF that I will be using here, you can download from the Telegram channel. Now, first of all, guys, this is the page number 1. Ahead of Lavrov's arrival, US to send deputy NSA to India. Now, guys, see, basically what has happened into the past few days, many of the foreign dignitaries, they have visited India. Why they are visiting India? It is because that the Russia Ukraine war is going on, and in this Russia Ukraine war, the many resolutions have been moved into the UN that the Russia should be criticized, that Russia should be condemned. In all of these particular resolutions, the India had abstained to vote. India had abstained. Neither India is supporting USA nor India is supporting the Russia. So what has happened, many of the foreign dignitaries, they have visited India and they are expecting that India will change its stand. India will condemn the Russia's action. Now, guys, in this particular string of the visit of the foreign dignitaries, Russian foreign minister is expected to visit on Friday. Fine, but before that, the USA is sending their deputy NSA National Security Advisor to India, probably to carry a preemptive talks with the India before the Russian envoy, before the Russian foreign minister comes. Is it clear? So this is something that is happening. However, guys, all the developments, the hairline details are not important. You don't need to say that on which date or which day who came. Okay, not important. Fine. Just this particular connection you need to understand. After that, nothing is important. Indian power projects replace Chinese ventures into the Sri Lanka. Is it clear? So, guys, we are basically over the past few, not the months, rather the years, it has been seen that the Chinese, they are building a lot of infrastructure into the Sri Lanka. For example, the Hambantota port has been taken on 99-year lease by the China. So what has happened, India also needs to scale up its presence into the China. So Indian power projects replace Chinese ventures into the Sri Lanka. So many high important projects India is also trying to take up. Then, guys, after that, the political news etc has been given, not important. Into the city section, regional issues have been there. Fine, not important with respect to the examination. After that, the classified section, opportunities page, nothing is there into these particular sections. So directly we will be going to the editorial page. Now, without sufficient cause. So, guys, this particular article is talking about an arrest of a girl. Now this girl has posted a status on her WhatsApp that every nation should have peace and harmony. Now, guys, the wish that this girl has made it, or this particular message that this girl has posted, it was on the Republic Day of Pakistan. So a case has been filed that she is wishing Pakistan the Happy Republic Day. Now, basically this particular girl has been booked under the section 153A. Fine. Now, one section 153A of IPC is with respect to promoting enmity between the different groups. It has been said that the girl was trying to promote the enmity. Now, guys, such kind of things are not good, because at the end of the day, it is nothing but the stifling of our freedom of speech and expression. And just posting a message of peace and harmony does not make a person anti-national directly. Clear? So this is something which has been discussed. However, with respect to exam, much of substance is not there. What is wrong with saffronizing education? So some good points, some relevant points we are going to see here. Bridging the Bay in quest of stronger BIMSTEC, will see what is provided in this article. Centralizing test, will see what is provided in this article. A doomsday book. Okay, so the mention of limits of growth has been given. A very good book, will see. Unreformable criminal justice system, will see what it is providing. Then, guys, after moving on, text and the context section, Myanmar's continued suspension of democracy. Now, we'll see the key takeaways from this particular article. However, much important points are not there, but still we'll see that what is there. Then the Facebook and the fake news. So the Facebook and how the Facebook's activities many a times polarize the opinion, such kind of thing is provided in this article. Now, guys, this is the articles from the archives. It means it is an old article. It was published in 2016 originally, but some of the relevant things which are still even important today we are going to see. India seeks closer BIMSTEC partnership. So there is one editorial also onto this particular line. We'll see there. Panel grills Facebook on political motivated algorithm. So we will cover this article with the text and the context article. Okay. After that, promote awareness of social welfare schemes. Modi's tell MPs. So guys, the awareness or the sensitization of people with respect to the social justice programs happens to be very important, and in this particular direction the MPs have been given a special responsibility. Clear. But nothing much important is there in the article. After that, government undecided on mixing of vaccine reducing interval. So we have seen guys already the ICMR, okay, it has provided that the cocktail of vaccines, that is the one dose of Covishield, one dose of Covaxin can be given. It gives a better immunity, but whether people should really be allowed to take the cocktail of vaccines, should they be allowed to mix the vaccines, government has to take a stand. Apart from that, nothing is there. Then calls for OBC quota rings louder in the Rajya Sabha. We'll see that what this particular article is talking about. Government spent these money rupees onto the advertisements. Now guys, government is spending so much money onto the advertisements of the different schemes or different things. There are both the points here, the positive as well as negative. On positive sides, it is said that, see, many a times just bringing a kind of a scheme is not important, rather sensitizing, giving awareness to the people is also important. So advertisements are important way of creating awareness. But sometimes some people say that these advertisements, what it is nothing but a kind of an advertisement of leader and not the scheme. So it is a wasteful exercise. However, all these things there. Then guys, the Sri Lanka Ukraine issue has been mentioned, nothing important in this particular direction. After that, Russia reiterated that it will only be accepting payment for goods delivered to the European Union in ruble, okay, because it wants to avoid the transactions into the dollars. After that, guys, moving on. After that, onto the business page, the regional trends etc. has been given, not something which important. Then guys, moving on, we'll have the sports page here. Now guys, further moving on in this particular direction, let's start with our articles. So first of all, we will be taking the GS quote that we take in our every class. So guys, today rather taking a directly quote, we are going to take a UPSC mains 2016 essay topic. So what this particular topic reads, topic says that the need brings greed, if greed increases it spoils breed. So basically guys, understand this particular thing, that into the today's era we are basically losing a sight that there are two words which are distinctly separate, which are distinctly different. One is the need, other is want. Now guys, the need are the basic necessities of life, but when we talk about the want are endless, they can never be satisfied. Today's generation, what they have forgotten a difference between the need and want. And now today the want are also being wrapped as your need, and these needs are now becoming never ending. You don't feel basically the need is basic dignity, having a shelter, having a dignified life, this is your need. But now today, having more wealth, having more fame, which was a want, it is also being turned into, or it is being turned into as need. Now this need is eventually bringing the greed into the people, and this greed is as this greed is increasing, it is spoiling the breed, it is spoiling the entire generations. Is it clear? So the need bringing greed and greed spoiling the breed, it happens to be a existential problem into the today's generations, into the today's youth. So this is something that message we can take, and guys, such kind of things we can even directly utilize in our essay paper. But apart from it, as a quote, it can be utilized in GS paper number 4 ethics also. So that is about it. And now let's take before that let's take the first article. Okay. First of all, good morning to everybody. Good morning. Good morning to everyone. Okay, there is one question, sir. How many times can a state go to Supreme Court on same dispute even through Supreme Court finalize its decision in first hearing? Okay, see, a curative petition could be filed into the Supreme Court. Okay, if the Supreme Court entertains a petition, it can be filed. There is no specific number. So let's say a decision has been given, but still a curative petition can be filed. Okay, so it depends on to the Supreme Court whether the Supreme Court entertains the matter or not. Okay, so Manoj, I think your doubt is clear. Now, taking up the first article. So guys, this article we have taken from the Hindu newspaper, and the article reads that the call for OBC quota rings louder into the Rajya Sabha. Now this particular topic happens to be an important one with respect to the GS paper number 2, the under the section of the polity and the constitutional issues. Now guys, this thing is coming into the news from past many months, and today we will understand this entire controversy that what is going on. Now guys, this particular article is about. First of all, I'll tell you some of the background. Okay, so number one, understand this thing that guys, what we have done, we have brought the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, by which the decentralization of governance has been done. What is this decentralization of governance? We have added the third tier in the governance process. We brought the Panchayati Raj institutions for the rural areas, and we brought the municipalities or the municipal corporations, municipal institutions for the urban areas. Okay, municipal bodies exactly. Now, as the panchayats were constituted and municipal bodies were constituted, it was provided that there will be election for the panchayats and as well as for the municipal bodies, and there were two specific articles that were added. There was the article 243D subclause 6 that came, and article 243T subclause 6 came. Both of these particular articles provided that, see, when the elections will be conducted for the panchayat and municipal bodies, into those elections the reservation can be given to the OBCs, backward classes. So 243D6, it provides that into the panchayat election certain seats can be reserved for OBCs, and 243T6 provides that into the municipal bodies certain seats can be reserved for the OBC communities. Now guys, acting on this particular provision, what had happened into the past, certain states actually reserved the seats for the OBC into their municipality elections. In this particular direction, we have the example of Madhya Pradesh and we have example of the Maharashtra. They reserved the seats for the OBCs. But when they did this particular thing, Supreme Court had said that no, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra cannot go forward with the reservation of the seats for the OBCs. They said that why we can't do this particular thing, it is directly provided into the constitution. Then Supreme Court said that we are not saying that you are not eligible to do that, you can do, but before that you have to pass the triple test. Now, what is this triple test? So guys, this triple test was introduced by the Supreme Court in 2021 judgment in the Vilas Krishna Rao Gowali judgment. Now, what is this triple test? Supreme Court says that before bringing the reservation for OBCs into the local body election, three tests are to be met. Number one, you need to establish a dedicated commission. This particular dedicated commission will do the empirical inquiry and it will determine the backwardness of particular bodies. Fine, the backwardness of particular caste. It will determine that in a state, for example, in the state of Maharashtra, which particular castes are backward, whether their representation into the local bodies have been adequate or not. Okay, so there will be a dedicated commission to study this particular matter. After this particular commission will be satisfied that yes, there is a need to give the reservation, it will provide the proportion of reservation. It will tell that okay, which communities members or which particular caste among the OBC should be given the reservation. So it will determine the proportion of reservation that is to be given in a local body. And third, it was said that when you are giving the reservation, see, you need to make sure that the reservation of seat for SC, ST and OBC in together should not be more than 50%. Should not be more than 50%. Is it clear? SC, ST, OBCs, all their seats combined together. Only when these three conditions will be met, then only the state can come out with this, that can reserve the seats. Now, this triple test has not been met into the Maharashtra, and they said that this was wrong. Now, what is happening into the Rajya Sabha? Rajya Sabha provides this particular thing that the parliament need to pass a law, and in this particular law, it needs to make it more convenient for the states to keep the seats reserved for the OBCs. So, what they say? They say that that there is a need to bring in a law to break the constitutional deadlock in the enforcement of OBC reservation in the local body elections. So whatever the Supreme Court has done, we need to either reverse that particular thing by a law, or we need to regularize that particular thing. Many a times or all the time, establishing a commission, waiting for that commission might not be a very easy task. So a kind of a specific law is needed by the parliament. So this is something which has been provided by this particular article. I hope you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. After that, guys, this particular article, it has been taken again from the Hindu newspaper, text and the context, and it is talking about the Facebook and the fake news. Now understand this particular thing, that not only the Facebook's phenomena, but rather the entire social media, as how it is changing the narratives, how it is manipulating the narratives, we are going to see. This particular thing will be important with respect to the GS paper number 3, the social media and its threats. Social media and its threats. Now along with it, there is one more related article that has come into the Hindu newspaper. Panel grills Facebook on political motivated algorithm. This article also we are going to see. Now, before going in this particular article, guys, let's understand some of the background. Now, the background goes like this, that today social media platforms such as the Facebook, Twitter, etc., they have become so powerful. Particularly the Facebook often comes into the news. It has been said that the Facebook, it has designed the algorithms. These algorithms will determine that which stories are important and which stories or which type of news feed is to be shown to the different people. When you go on Facebook, you see different pictures, different videos, different status updates, etc. Which one of them you will see prominently and which of them you will see less prominently, it is determined by the artificial intelligence or by the algorithms that are being designed. But these algorithms have a kind of a biasness, they have a flaw. In this particular direction, guys, what has happened? See, there is also the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Information and Technology. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Information and Technology, it has called the Facebook officials into the question. Now what is happening, I'll tell you the entire case. So guys, basically it has been said that now you know this thing, that the election campaign is not only into the physical format, it is also onto the social media. So what has been said, that the Facebook deliberately has emphasized more onto the BJP party. The BJP's campaign, their advertisements, okay, has been shown more prominently by the Facebook, and the opposition parties have not been given the level playing field. So this is a biasness towards the ruling parties that the Facebook has shown, and this thing has happened in other countries also. Specifically in 2016, huge allegations was made onto the Facebook that it specifically is favoring one political faction within the USA. Now guys, it has been said that the Facebook, it unfairly promotes one political party into the country. Fine. Moreover, within the Facebook, there is no Indian language experts for quality checking. Fine. Many times the content into the regional languages and or in vernacular languages is being shared. Now, whether that particular content is authentic or not authentic, to verify that, language experts are not there into the Facebook. Now the Facebook has provided that their algorithm does not differentiate between the political and non-political ad. They have refuted it, but it has been provided by a report of Al Jazeera and a reporters collective that no, Facebook's advertising platform has systematically undercut the political competition into the world's largest democracy, that is India. Few days back, guys, we have taken one more article also by Sonia Gandhi, where she said this thing, that the for Facebook is giving it is killing the competitiveness into the democracy. So this is something, the allegations that have been made on Facebook. Now guys, there are certain other aspects that I want to tell you here. See, in 2016, actually, there was a research which was made by the Pew Research Center. Now, the Pew Research Center has provided this thing at that point of time. Now, these numbers are even more increased. They had said that the 44% of American adults, they get their news from the Facebook. So, today you are getting news from Facebook, Google directly, not directly from the newspapers. So, 44% adults were getting news from the Facebook. And out of them, the 64% dependent on just one site for the news. Now it means Fine. 64% depend on just one site, and which is that site? That site is Facebook. So basically, whatever narrative the Facebook is spreading, you will feel that this is the correct narrative. Is it clear? If Facebook is showcasing one particular type of event more number of times, you will feel that this event is more important than the other events. Is it clear? So this is something that is happening, that the Facebook is today creating the narratives and people are believing those narratives because Facebook is many a times the only media that the people are consuming. Now it has been provided that, guys, that actually what had happened over the years, Facebook has fine-tuned its algorithm. For example, Facebook gives more weight to the friends and the family. Now your friends, suppose your friend has liked a particular post or had commented on a particular type of a picture, on a particular type of video, there are very high chances that you will see that post, you will see that video. Now when you engage with that particular kind of post, what will happen? Even more and more kind of posts of such kind of category are flooded on your wall, and then as you are more and more engaging with those kind of posts, what will happen? You will become polarized towards one particular direction. For example, let's say that this is me and this is one of my friend. Now my friend has basically shared a particular post. Now this particular post is supporting one particular religion, and at the same time it is condemning some other religion. Now the moment I see this particular post, I read it, I comment on it, I like it, what will happen? Similar category of post will then again flooded on my wall, and over the period of time I will become more conditioned towards one particular thinking pattern only. What this is called as? This is called as the echo chamber effect. Okay, it is called as the echo chamber effect. Now what is the echo chamber effect? You are being shown one type of stories and you are getting conditioned in that particular way only. It gives an ideological tilt. Now further, it has been provided that today we are living into the post-truth era. What is this post-truth era? Post-truth era, it is a time where the objective truths doesn't matter, the facts doesn't matter, emotions matter. The truths, it has the different version. The truth is conditioned by emotions. Is it clear? Post truth politics, for example, guys, is a word which is often used. Post truth politics means the politics which is being carried not on the facts but onto the basis of people's emotion. Today, guys, the nationalism happens to be a very important subject on which the politics is being carried, not on the development, because development is all about the objective facts and objective numbers. But no, that is not important. Subjectivity, emotional appeals are more important. So into this post-truth society, the Facebooks, they are showing you overcharged emotional, overcharged kind of write-ups, which are many a times based onto the fake information also, and it is bringing the polarization into the society. So this is a kind of a way as how the social medias are threatening the survival and the social cohesion into the society. So this is all, guys, about this particular article. Now see, it is not a fact based kind of thing that okay, just 5 facts are being shown. It is an idea based article, and these idea based articles are actually very important in order to build up your opinions, which you can use in the essay paper. Clear? So this is a very important thing. Now moving to the next article. Myanmar's continued suspension of democracy. So guys, see what has happened recently. The Myanmar, okay, it has commemorated its Armed Forces Day. Myanmar had commemorated its Armed Forces Day very recently, and on this particular day, this article about the Myanmar's continued suspension of democracy has come. Now in the article, much of important points are not there, just very few important pointers are there. Now guys, first of all, when we talk about the Myanmar got independence from the Britishers in 1948, and since 1948 Myanmar's history has been very much troubled. Clear? In this particular direction, guys, if I tell you what had happened, Myanmar after the independence in 1962 has seen one coup. Then after that in 1988 also a coup came, and now in 2021 again a coup has come, where the military has taken over the power in Myanmar, and right now the military dictatorship or the junta, fine, it is ruling the Myanmar. Now in the Myanmar the democracy has been removed. Clear? So Aung San Suu Kyi, who was the democratic leader into the Myanmar, she has again been put into the house arrest. And since 2021, still again there is a instability military regime is there into the Myanmar. Clear, these many people have been arrested, these many people have been killed, many of the political leaders, they have either been detained or they have been jailed. Clear, all these particular thing is going on. Now guys, when we talk about the present state of Myanmar, obviously Myanmar is curtailing the democratic rights, but at the same time, what about the Myanmar's foreign relation? This is something that has been majorly discussed in this particular article. First of all guys, when we talk about the Myanmar's foreign relation, number one guys, the Myanmar's foreign relations have been conditioned largely by the defense ties. In this particular direction, Myanmar's important partner is Russia. Why? Because guys, Russia has provided large number of defense exports to the Myanmar, and because Russia is important for Myanmar, Myanmar has been in handful of the countries which have supported the Russia into this Ukraine invasion that is going on. Now I told you why, because Russia continues to be a major defense exporter to Myanmar. Now for the defense equipments, Myanmar is dependent on some other countries also. For example, China is an important partner which provides the defense exports. Apart from China, Pakistan, India, Serbia, Belarus, Ukraine, they also provide certain defense equipments to the Myanmar. Now guys, when we talk about the major partners of Myanmar, they are Russia, China, as well as India. Russia, China specifically are very important for the defense exports. India being a neighbor, and India in other strategic sectors have helped the Myanmar. Now guys, when we talk about the India's relationship with the Myanmar, India's relationship with Myanmar has been always on a very sticky lines. See this particular thing. Basically, the Myanmar, it is closed to the China. Now this is India. India needs Myanmar for two purposes. Number one, India needs Myanmar for the counter-insurgency operations that it carries into the northeast. Myanmar has the boundary with the northeastern states, and many a times, many of the insurgents, they have fled to the Myanmar whenever they have committed some kind of crime. And in these kind of things, Myanmar's military has helped India at many number of times. So Myanmar's support we need to curb the insurgency going into the northeast. This is one importance of Myanmar. Second importance of Myanmar is this, that guys, I told you that Myanmar has a strategic boundaries with the northeast, and Myanmar at the same time is also close to the China. If we don't support the Myanmar, what can happen? Myanmar can further drift to the China, towards the side of China, and China then through the Myanmar will come more near into the India's neighborhood. So having a healthy relation, good relation with Myanmar, it is very much important. Now moving on in this particular direction guys, so India's relationship with Myanmar has been predicated on a line of maintaining a balance, because we need to maintain a cordial relation. Many a times on certain democratic crises also we have kept silent. For example, Myanmar's treatment of the Rohingyas, we have not criticized Myanmar outrightly. Secondly, into the Myanmar, the army had taken over the power, but we have not openly condemned the Myanmar. We are having the negotiations, we are into the talks still, friendly relations are being maintained. Why? Because we don't want to upset the Myanmar. Moreover guys, India abstained from voting into the United Nations General Assembly on a resolution that the military of the Myanmar is committing the atrocities. Fine, we have abstained on that particular vote. Moreover, recently India has urged Myanmar to end the violence and implement ASEAN's 5-point consensus. 5-point consensus is about as how the peace can be brought, how the international negotiations can be started. Okay, so we have put this particular thing. Now at the same time, the USA's stand on Myanmar is very much clear. USA has outrightly condemned the Myanmar and had said that the humanitarian crisis that is going on needs to stop immediately. So this is all guys about this particular article. However, only the generalistic kind of things are there. Okay, nothing much more fine is there. Now moving to the next article. Centralizing test. Now this particular article taken from the Hindu newspaper. So this article will be important with respect to the GS paper number 2, reforms in the education sectors. Reforms in the education sector. Now understand this particular thing, guys. What has happened recently, the government has proposed that by the year 2022-2023 CUCET will be implemented. What is this CUCET? It stands for Central Universities Common Entrance Test. So it has been provided that, see, the 45 central universities that are in India, they will conduct only one test by the name of the CUCET, and the marks scored into this particular test will be used as a national level score, and on the basis of the marks the students can take the admission into these 45 central universities. Understand, guys, up till now the different central universities have their different admission procedure. For example, in Delhi University, your marks into the 12th standard are taken as a benchmark for determining that in which college, in which course you will get the admission. Then there are certain universities which are carrying their own entrance examination. Certain universities are carrying just a personality test to see whether the students can get enrolled into their college or not. This particular thing had bring a kind of a lot of incoherence. Many a times students, they have to give multiple tests. Okay, so therefore now this particular CUCET, it is being proposed that it will be a one national level test for all the 45 central universities. So it will give a relief to the aspirants. They don't have to take the multiple entrance test. Moreover, a single entrance test for the central universities have been proposed way back in 1984 also by the Madhuri R. Shah committee. This is something that has happened. But guys, at the same time, this CUCET has been criticized by many of the chief ministers, particularly the chief minister of Tamil Nadu has criticized it, and many other political leaders have criticized. So let's see that what are the criticisms of this CUCET. Number one criticism that has come, guys, here it has been said that, see, when we talk about the students of class 12th, they are, many of them are studying into the different state boards. For example, the Uttar Pradesh board, Bihar board, Karnataka board, many state boards are there in which in which the students are reading. But when this CUCET entrance test will come, this particular test would be based on to the NCERT syllabus. Now the students into the state boards, they are not reading the NCERTs, so they will be at a disadvantage. Students of the CBSE schools, they will be at more advantage. So the poor students, fine, they will be at a disadvantage. Second thing, guys, that has been provided here, that, see, now this particular examination will happen just after the school examinations, and if from the past 2 years the students who got disturbed by the COVID-19, they will find it challenging to write this particular examination. They might not have prepared because of the disruptions that were going on. Then, guys, there are the concerns in the northeast. There are the concerns into the northeast. Now see, guys, into the northeast, the students, they get a state domicile, fine, and let's say that there is a, let's say there is a Nagaland, one of a state of a northeast. Now in the Nagaland, the domiciles of the residents of Nagaland are given more preference with respect to the education into the universities. Now once this CUCET will come, there will be an entrance test for the pan India level. Many of the students through the CUCET, they will be placed into the universities of northeast, and their own students might not get a seat. So this is a concern into the northeast, and this concern is very important. It cannot be ignored. Then the next thing that is coming here is that, guys, this one universal test, it will basically be a kind of a booster for the coaching industry only. Fine. Now what had happened, wherever the national level test has come, the coaching mafias and the coaching industry had came, okay, and they create a kind of a fear that only coaching will help you in getting in that particular college. The same things we have seen in engineering, the same thing we have seen in medical. Is it clear? UPSC also, we feel that the coaching is indispensable. So okay, so the basically the coaching industry will only be the one which get benefited, and this will again put the poor student at the disadvantage. So these are certain criticisms that have come in this particular article. So that is all about it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, unreformable criminal justice. This article is taken from the editorial section of the Hindu newspaper, and it will be important with respect to the GS paper number 2. Fine. Judicial reforms. Okay. Okay, so there is one question. Sandeep says, sir, for prelims, can we stop going through current affairs from 2 months before the prelims? Okay, so yes, if you are hoping for the prelims examination, let's say this year 2022, and in June you have the prelims examination, then yes, if you want, you can you can skip the current affairs of the April and May. But for the mains, you have to read it. I will suggest that if possible, if you within 1 hour or half hour or 45 minutes can read the newspaper or can skim through the current affairs, very good, because then it will not create a burden for your mains examination. But if you are too much concerned only for prelims, and if you are finding that prelims is the only obstacle right now important for you, yes, just before 50 or 60 days before the prelims, if you want, you can stop the current affairs. Okay, you can do that. Now, the article, okay, so this particular article provides this thing that the criminal justice system in India, fine, it is in the wrong. First of all, what do we mean by the criminal justice system? So guys, criminal justice system, it pertains to the police, it pertains to the policing, it pertains to the judicial processes, and it pertains to the prisons. Okay, now suppose a person has done a crime. Number one, this person will be arrested by the police. Secondly, then that particular person will be tried by the judiciary, and thirdly, the person, if guilty, will be put into the jail, where he will basically be will be into the prison and will be spending some jail time. So the prisons of India, the judicial processes, and the policing, all these things make a criminal justice system. Now this criminal justice system in India is not very much good. Why? Because guys, at the level of policing, at the level of judiciary, and at the level of prisons, many number of problems are there. It has been provided that first of all, right now in India, the problem is that we are having the unrealistic expectation from the people. We have an unrealistic expectation that automatically the criminal justice system in India will improve. No, first of all, we need to accept that there are very big flaws, very big problems in our criminal justice system, and only after accepting these problems we can move forward to look for a reform of the criminal justice system. This is a core message that has been given. Now first of all, let's see that what are the problems in our criminal justice system. So there are many number of problems. Number one, the disposal of the pending cases. Right now more than 4.4 crore cases are pending into the judiciary. Clear? To clear that particular cases, according to one of our report, more than 440 years are needed. Clear? So this is a very big problem. There is a large number of pending cases, and in that people are not able to get a justice into the disputes that are there. Second thing is that justice mechanism is inaccessible to the marginalized class of citizen, particularly the poor people. Guys, if I tell you a one fact, see, in the out of the people who are lodged into the jail, fine, in this particular thing, nearly 67% out of them are the under trials. Who are the under trials? Under trial means a person, let's say a rickshaw puller, he was framed in a murder case. Rickshaw puller is in a jail. Up till now it has not been proved that actually he had committed a murder, but because he cannot afford a bail, he is in a jail. This person is an under a trial person. Right now, out of all the inmates that are there into the jail, 67% people are under trials. It means that their crimes have not been proved. Now why these people are in jail, and but at the same time the rich people, they are able to get the anticipatory bails? Fine, it is because the justice system is highly inaccessible to the poor people in India. Now here the reference from Amartya Sen has been taken, very good reference. Now Amartya Sen says that our justice system follows a transcendental institutionalist approach. Transcendental institutionalist approach. What it means? It means that in India we have just focus to correct the institutional arrangement. We are having focus to just correct the processes, institutions. We don't focus that what exactly the output that is coming. Okay, whether our justice system, what output is emerging out of such arrangement. Okay, whether we are building the capacity of people themselves. Fine, whether we are educating the poor, whether we are sensitizing the marginalized, that how to get the how to get the justice. No, we are not doing that. Just we are focusing on institution building. So institution building is focus, capacity building is not a focus, a very big problem. Third is abuse of power by the police. Now guys, in India the police does not see itself as a service, rather the policemen, they see themselves as a force. And you being a force, you being a service, you being a service provider, there is a difference in attitude. Because police sees itself as a force, there is a kind of an arbitrariness, authoritarianism that is often into the attitude, a very big problem. Then crime prevention is an utopian goal in our criminal justice system. We want to prevent the crime. Okay, that is a good goal in fact, but our expectation are not very much well placed. Fine, we think that all the crimes are to be completely be eradicated. That can never happen in a society. Fine, what happened guys, in order to prevent the crime, we have came out with the approach that higher and higher punishment will reduce the crimes, but such kind of thing has never happened. Higher punishments had little impact on lowering the crime rates. Okay, so this is a kind of a problem. Then guys, the next thing has been there, that see, we have not explored the non-custodial measures of punishment in India. Now see, every person, let's say a person committed a crime, what is the response? Put him in jail. Now these are the custodial measures. Non-custodial measures, for example, suppose a particular person did a kind of a small offense, rather than putting him in jail, you make him do some community service, you make him do some kind of a social welfare. Such kind of measures we have not used in India. Clear? In India, we have the problem of overcrowding of prisons. Maximum of prisons, they are operating at more than 100% of their capacity. Overcrowding of prisons are there. Fine. The custody, the living condition in custody is not good, but still we are not exploring other measures. Then the next thing is there, that the reliable state-sponsored data collection, maintenance of data and analysis of data is missing in India. National Crime Record Bureau is the data collection agency, but it is just collecting the data, not analyzing the data, not using that particular data, that how the crime prevention, how the crime reduction can be done by taking the help of some empirical data. Such kind of research and analysis is missing. Now, what is reform? Reform is number one, accepting the problem in our criminal justice system. We need to accept that our institutional arrangement are such that it cannot guarantee the access of justice to the most vulnerable people. And only if we will accept that our criminal justice system does not cater to the vulnerable population, only then we will shift towards the building of capacity. We will then only be shifting towards building of the potential into the people themselves. After that guys, next thing that has been provided is there, that we need to also accept that there is abuse of power that happens by the police, and only when we will accept it, we will be coming out with the credible independent investigating procedures for the policing personnel, for the police personnel. See, today we we have not accepted that the police is caring for the abuse, and for that purpose only, how to check the accountability of the police officers, so no mechanism is there. We just think that the police officers, they are by default ethical and they will do good, but no, that is not the case. They abuse their power, and only after this realization we will develop the independent investigating mechanisms. We need to work on it. After that guys, we need to work on to the problem of pendency of cases. Okay, we have a tendency to over criminalize the conduct. Every conduct we file a criminal case on it. No, it is not a right kind of thing. So this is something that is needed to be done in this particular direction. A very good article guys, you can directly note down the points from here in your notebook. Now moving to the next article, what is wrong with saffronizing education? Now guys, much of the references in this particular article are politically motivated, no need to go too much into the detail, but some important points are there. So basically guys, what is the now this particular article will be important with respect to the GS paper number 2, education reforms. Now first of all, I'll tell you the context of this particular article. So what has happened recently, the Vice President of India, he had provided that the Indian system of education got maculized. Fine, we have the Macaulay system of education. Now the Lord Macaulay brought the Macaulay system of education, or he brought the Macaulism of education. Now what is this maculism or macule system of education? He proposed that Indians should be provided a scientific knowledge based on English. One. This was a stated objective. But what was the real objective behind it? The real objective was this, that once this particular type of education will be provided to the Indians, what will happen? Indian will feel more superiority while interacting in English and while reading the scientific concepts, the other kind of subjects. They wanted to develop an inferiority complex in Indians with respect to their traditional wisdom that has been there. Now the traditional wisdom, traditional education of India has been equated with some kind of jhad fook, with some kind of notions based on superstition, etc. Maculism wanted to remove that particular thing. Now guys, what happened? Our education became more maculized, and what happened? The people, educated people, they started to develop a kind of a mindset where they had a sense of inferiority with respect to their own culture. They were ignorant about their own heritage. They were disconnected from the rich philosophies of India, and they took pleasure only in reading about the Western achievements, Western ideas, etc. So, guys, actually, the Lord Macaulay, he once said that I want to build the class of Indians who will be who will be Indian in their color but British in their blood. English in their color, physically will Indian in color, physically will look like Indians, but English in blood. Our attitudes, our ideologies, they will be too much colonized. This is something that was there. So the Vice President of India, he had argued that this maculism of education is needed to be reversed, and now the education needs to be turned in such a way that we need to revive our ancient ideas, our ancient thinking. Now it has been called by many of people that the government is going for nothing but for the saffronization of education. Government is going for the saffronization of the education. Now guys, it has been said that, see, the saffronization of education, it can actually mean two things. Number one, equating the education with the practices of a dominant religion, or secondly, bringing a kind of a cultural element in our education. Now it has been said that, see, earlier also many of the prominent thinkers had provided that in the education we need to include many of other elements. For example, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, a notable thinker of philosophy as well. Okay, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, what he had provided that the basically in the universities the education curriculum needed to be changed in such a way that the great thinkers find from his life the lessons should also be taught. Fine, you might be the basically the lessons from their particular life also needed to be taught. So this is something that has been provided. Now guys, it has been provided that today if we talk about the saffronization of the education in this particular direction, which particular thinkers will be used, which particular thinkers will be, just a minute. Yes, so which particular thinkers will be used, which particular thinkers will be preferred, this is a kind of a controversy that is there, not very clearly decided. After that, the second challenge with respect to the saffronization of education is this: which themes and topics should be included and which themes and topics from the Indian philosophy should be excluded. Clear? Fine. Another challenge is that moving from the humanities and social sciences to the STEM. Okay, what Indianization or what type of Indianization will be there into this particular direction? Should we accept it? Should we condemn it? Okay, so these are certain things that are there. However guys, much of the political criticisms that have been done onto the speech of the vice president, that is unwarranted, which is given a lot in this particular article. So that direction you don't need to go in. So that is all about it, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay guys, just one particular thing that I want to give you here is that, see, many a times we get the names of the early times leaders. For example, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, the former president of India and a notable philosopher, a notable thinker, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. These people have also talked about reviving the ancient languages, but guys, understand, these people never came into the critical scrutiny. The reason being that their emphasis was never on one religion. Their credentials were well proved that they had a kind of a universal universal love towards all the religions, all the philosophies. So their viewpoints never came in the criticism because of their outlook and because of their embrace that was there. Fine. So the example of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, the president, is a very good one in this particular direction. Now moving to the next article. Bridging the Bay in quest of a stronger BIMSTEC. Now guys, first of all, yesterday also we have taken one article onto the BIMSTEC. Why? Because now the BIMSTEC Summit is being organized, which will be hosted by the Sri Lanka. So in this direction, before the BIMSTEC, many of such articles will be coming. Now, first of all, already yesterday I had given you the entire, we have discussed entire about the BIMSTEC, that what BIMSTEC is. It contains 7 members, got originated in 1997. What are its objectives? What are its goals? What are its vision? All these things we have taken up. Clear? Now, the BIMSTEC, it stands for Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. So today the BIMSTEC has become very much important because of certain factors. Number one, guys, what has happened today? The India is very much for India. India's neighborhood first policy as well as India's Act East policy has been very important. Now, when we talk about the neighborhood first, into the neighborhood first, under the BIMSTEC, most of our important neighbors have been covered. When we talk about the Act East policy, there the Bay of Bengal becomes an important component, and all the members surrounding the Bay of Bengal happens to be important. So through the Bay of Bengal, through the BIMSTEC, we can reach to our neighbors as well as to our Act East partners immediately. Then the next thing has been provided, that guys, see, today what had happened, the Indo-Pacific region is becoming a very important region into the entire world, and the Bay of Bengal is very organically connected to the Indo-Pacific. So through Bay of Bengal we can reach the Indo-Pacific agenda also. Is it clear? Now guys, the Indian Ocean has become a strategic space, and in order to explore the capabilities posed by the Indian Ocean, the Bay of Bengal and the partners surrounding under the Bay of Bengal, the countries around the Bay of Bengal, the members of the BIMSTEC happens to be important ones. After that, guys, the BIMSTEC has a kind of a potential that it can serve as a natural platform for the developmental cooperation between the members into the nearby countries. Then guys, secondly, when we talk about the BIMSTEC happens to be an organization which connects two of the regions. It connects the countries of the South as well as the South Asia as well as the Southeast Asia. So BIMSTEC can provide a large number of opportunities, large number of developmental issues such as the connectivity issues, trade issues, investment issues, fine, could be discussed onto the BIMSTEC, and the irritants could be taken care of. After, guys, when we talk about the BIMSTEC, okay, the BIMSTEC secretariat coordinates, facilitates all the BIMSTEC activities that are there. Now this BIMSTEC meet, as it will happen, the leaders need to agree that they have to strengthen the institutional capacity of BIMSTEC secretariat. This is something that they have to agree upon. Fine. So this is a kind of a very generalistic article onto the upcoming BIMSTEC meet that is there. I will highly recommend you to read the yesterday's BIMSTEC article that we have discussed. It was much more comprehensive one. Okay, by the way, guys, as this BIMSTEC meet will happen, what will be the purpose of this particular BIMSTEC meet? So all these particular documents are to be finalized. Finalizing the BIMSTEC charter, BIMSTEC master plan for transport connectivity, BIMSTEC convention on mutual legal assistance in criminal matters, BIMSTEC technology transfer facility, cooperation between diplomatic academies, training institutions, and a template of memorandum of association of the future establishment of BIMSTEC centers. All these things are to be finalized. Fine. So this is something that has been there. However, if not read, please go and read the yesterday's BIMSTEC article that we have discussed. Very comprehensive one. Now we'll move to the next article. A doomsday book that launched a movement. Now this particular article, guys, can be seen under GS paper number 3, environment and ecology. Now what this particular article is talking about, guys, this particular article is talking about a book that was published in 1970. Now the name of the book is The Limits to Growth. The Limits to Growth. Now see, guys, when we talk about the 1970s, this was the era where there were a kind of awareness, coming, there was awareness that was coming that the environmental degradation has happened and we need to stop it. During this particular time, there was some very good books and good journals that were written. Fine, there are certain names that I want to tell you. Fine, little bit beyond this particular article. The Silent Spring was there. Silent Spring. Population Bomb. Population Bomb. And The Limits to Growth. Limits to Growth. Now, these were certain books which were very influential. It talked about the environmental change that is coming, how the environment is getting disturbed because of the anthropogenic activities, and these particular things actually awakened the entire world. Clear? The Stockholm conference, fine, the Stockholm conference, and then the other high ranking basically conferences, meets, okay, they happened because of particularly the movement that was inspired by these books. Now this article is talking about this particular book specifically, The Limits to Growth. It had said that whatever future was predicted into this book, Limits to Growth, it is now becoming real and real. Now this article says that this limit of growth, fine, this particular book was authored by a group of economic modelers. Okay, now they have said at that point of a time they had said that the climate change will happen, the sea level rise will happen, the existential crisis will come. At the 1970s, when this particular book was released, it was criticized a lot. It was said that this particular book is showing a doomsday prediction. Doomsday prediction means that everything will be destroyed, fine, all the humanity, the civilization will collapse. So it was said that this book is very much negative. This book is creating a kind of a environment of fear and threat. Okay, so this book was condemned. Many of the people, they said that this book has failed to accept this particular thing, that there is a self correction measure in the earth. Okay, fine, there is a self correction capability. Okay, the earth can cope up with a kind of a damage also if it comes. But guys, at this point of a time, this self correction capabilities were being talked, but guys, the book, it provided that yes, earth has a self correction capability, but within the earth there are certain tipping points also which are there in any complex system, and once this tipping point is reached, what can happen, even a small change will bring a drastic will bring a kind of a drastic change. For example, let's take, guys, for example, suppose there is a dam. In this particular dam, a lot of water is stored. Fine, now what happened, now let's say this particular dam is very old. Now as this particular water is creating a kind of an impact on this particular dam, this dam has developed a certain kind of cracks. Clear? Now guys, these cracks have developed over the years. Now the dam has reached a tipping point. A tipping point means that the cracks are there, the dam has become very much weak. Now even let's say a tiny wave, if it will come, even let's say a tiny earthquake, it will come, what will happen, it will completely destroy this particular dam, and what will happen, there will be a huge catastrophe that will come. So it has been said that the earth, it can rebound back. Okay, it can recover back, but if a lot of change will happen into the earth's atmosphere, fine, into the other processes of the earth, what will happen, earth will reach to a tipping point where only one small event will bring a big catastrophe onto the earth. And now guys, over the years, as so much of pollution, so much of carbon emission that we have done, earth is reaching around the tipping point and a catastrophic hazard can come. It has been provided that since last 10,000 years, the Holocene, we are seeing a stable environment into the earth, which helped the humanity to thrive. But this exponential development, this exponential growth that we have seen, what happened, it had disturbed the earth's environment, the pollution, fine, the complex systems have got broken. Now this particular book, The Limits of Growth, it further provided that what happened, the countries, they are measuring their progress only onto the parameter of GDP, which is the marker of growth. But within this parameter of GDP, we don't see that what is the quality of life that is emerging into these countries. What about the gap between the rich and the poor? What about the undernourished people? We are just seeing the growth as a number, but not in a qualitative term. The limits of growth. This particular book, when it was published, guys, at that point of a time, there was a lot of the awareness with respect to the environment was not there. Knowledge gaps existed at that point of a time. This book was the first which raised the issue of the pollution. Fine, how the rising level of carbon dioxide, fine, from the unconventional sources of energy, fine, how they are posing a problem. This book imagined the ignited the understanding in this particular direction. This particular book also provided that now the planetary boundaries cannot be seen into the isolation. It has been provided that, see, one country cannot say that within their country it is matter of their own, another country they have their own problem. For example, guys, we talk about the Amazon forest. Now the Amazon forest are the ones which are shared by the different countries. The entire Amazon forest needs to be seen as a one system. It cannot be fragmented into the different countries and their boundaries. Is it clear? So we need to act collectively. Even one event in another one country will have some implication on the another country. If the Amazon forest are getting disturbed, fine, in the South America, what will happen? It will have their impact into the glaciers in the Tibet region. So today we cannot say that one country's matter, other countries matter are different. No, they are connected. Fine. So it has been provided, guys, that, see, today already the humans, they have changed certain of the earth's systems. Fine, the climate change system. Now climate change happens automatically, naturally it happens, but we have increased the speed, rate of biodiversity loss. Many of the biodiversity gets lost in the process, but we have increased again the speed. The nitrogen cycle, we have disturbed the nitrogen cycle of the earth. Now, guys, the book The Limits to Growth, it has provided that today we need to introduce the concept of economic and ecological equilibrium into the society. Fine, we need to achieve the state of equilibrium, and to achieve that equilibrium we need to have a kind of a Copernican revolution. Okay, we need to change our thinking patterns, we need to change as how we see growth. Fine, from the GDP we need to move towards more sustainable types of growth, etc. It has been provided that we need to think the degrowth, we need to think the degrowth, we need to think the pattern of our growth, whether they are sustainable or not. So this is something that has been discussed in it. So guys, that is all about this particular article. Okay, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis, and all these were the important articles into the today's newspaper. I hope, guys, that you have understood it. So that is all for today. Now we'll meet tomorrow the same time. Till then, please take care of yourself, and you have liked the